Yo, what is the deal, everybody? Welcome to another Raider Nation Unlimited. I'm your man, Wasted Talent. This is a very special episode of Raider Nation Unlimited. A very special episode of Raider. It's a very special episode of Different Strokes. Salute to everybody in the chat. Get wasted with your brother Wasted. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Look, I really was loving what I saw yesterday. You know, I watched the Oregon-Indiana game, man, and I was blown away. And I wanted to go over it. You know, I wanted to go over, you know, a lot of the players and stuff like that you know, are going to be eligible for this 2026 draft. Also, you know, I want to do a little comparison of Dante Moore and Fernando Mendoza, right? You guys know I've been Team Mendoza from the door, and now there's a lot of people who saw what they saw yesterday, and now they're all aboard. But I would be remiss to say that, you know, Dante Moore is only 20 years old, man. He's 20 years old. You know, Dante Moore has a lot of athletic ability, but listen, there were a lot of other players in this game, like Surratt, a bunch of guys. Coogan, you know, I've been talking about Coogan for the last few weeks. My boy Big Mike brought him up today too. You know, so look, there are a lot of players that I'm very, very, very interested in, you know, to be drafted by the Raiders on both sides of the football, right? And I see there are a lot of people that say Dante Moore needs to stay in college. Look, man, Dante Moore is in between a rock and a hard place. Now, I know that, you know, the NIL kind of changes things for a lot of these young players. The NIL changes a lot of things for these young players because, you know, before people were coming out because of the financial ramifications, right? Thing is that now when you have a situation where you have guys getting paid $4 million a year in NIL money just from one particular person, you know, Dante Moore stands to make $8 to $10 million just staying in college, man. Now, if it's about his earning potential, that's one thing. If he gets in the right situation in the National Football League where he could sit and watch for a little bit, that might be the right thing for him, right? But if I'm being real with you, if Dante Moore goes back to college, he might not be a top 5 pick next year. Like, it is going to be a daunting task for him to go back to school and be in the position that he's in now. You know what I'm saying? It is going to be a daunting task. I mean, this guy has a lot of ability. He's a lot of ability, but how many people have we seen as football fans that have had that same level of talent? You got guys like Anthony Richardson that come to mind, right? That never quite got it. You got guys like, you know, Jamarcus Russell that come to mind. There are a lot of players that have a lot of talent and they pass the eye test. But I'm going to be 100% real with you, bro. Dante Moore is not ready for the National Football League. He's not. And a lot of the mistakes that we saw yesterday, like on a fumble, to me, that was the running back's fault. You know what I mean? When he rear back to throw the football and his elbow hit the running back. You know, if you're taking a 2-step drop, the expectation is that the running back is not behind you, right? That's the expectation. That was a design play, you know, hit his elbow, running back was in the wrong place. But some of the throws that Dante Moore made have me a little, you know, I would be concerned if the Raiders drafted him. I would be concerned, man. You know, but guys, look, I want to get into the game, man. I want to get into the game because, you know, the biggest thing that I saw from Fernando Mendoza and I continue to see is ball placement. The ball placement yesterday was phenomenal. He was putting the ball in places where only his receiver could catch it or drop it. You know, and that's really more so when I hear people talk about Fernando Mendoza. These are the things that I wonder what they're looking at. I saw earlier today, Coach JB has some really strong takes on Fernando Mendoza, and we're going to get into that a little later. But before we break the Indiana Oregon game down, and the reason why we're doing this is a very Raider-centric game. It really is. And the Miami game is that too, if I'm being real, because there are a lot of players on Miami. Miami has a ton of talent. It's gonna be a tall order for Indiana to pull that one off. I think Ryan Clark said this. Shout out to Ryan Clark. He was saying how Miami to him looks like those old SEC teams that were just loaded. And they do. They have a lot of blue chip talent on that team. Salute to everybody pulling up on this Saturday Night Live. Get wasted with your brother, wasted. Tell a friend and tell a friend. Share this thing out to all social media. We got 275 in the room. I know we pushed this thing a little bit back, but get this thing out there. Share it on Twitter. Retweet it. Put it in the Raider groups. You know what I'm saying? I mean, do everything you can to move this situation forward. All your college football groups, get this live out there so we can break this game down. I want my college football people here, my first time listeners and stuff like that. I want all of the first time listeners, man, to do me a favor and put a 1 in the chat. Just put a 1 in the chat. I want to see something, man. I'm doing my just due. I'm doing my homework here, man. But salute to everybody, man. So guys, to me, the question about Mendoza and Dante Moore is over. To me, the question about who the Raiders should take number 1, that's over too. Fernando Mendoza was absolutely sensational, man. There are so many people who try to crap all over Fernando Mendoza and exactly, the level of play that he's playing. And they're just giving all of the credit to the offense. They're comparing them to all these different quarterbacks. And to me, man, everything they say is a plus to me. If this guy gets in a West Coast heavy passing scheme, man, some RPO stuff, he will do damage in the National Football League, man. So look, the Oregon Ducks lost to Indiana 56-22. Dante Moore was 24 for 39, 285 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. Fernando Mendoza was lights out, man. He was 17 for 20, 177 yards, and 5 touchdowns, man. Dier Hill Jr. from Oregon, the running back, had 5 carries, 86 yards. He was cooking. And Kalon Black, man, 12 carries, 63 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jamari Johnson, stud wide receiver over there at Oregon, had 4 receptions, 83 yards, 1 touchdown. And Elijah Surratt, 7 receptions, 75 yards, 2 touchdowns, man. I mean, he was absolutely sensational. He is definitely going to be a guy that's going to be on a lot of people's draft boards going forward. I don't think he's a first-round pick, but he's definitely between the 3rd and 2nd-round pick, man. Salute to everybody in chat. Get wasted with your brother. Wasted. My guy, Rorschach Raider. Wasted channeling Maximus. Are you not entertained? Oh, you damn right, man. And salute to my guy. Production by Jay. The national media don't want us to draft him. F them. They can't stop the resurgence. The silver and black are on the way back. You damn right. Salute to my guy, man. Salute to my guy. You are 110% right, man. Yo, shout out to my guy, Big Mike Raider, in the place to be, man. So, look, let's get to it, man. Fernando Mendoza was absolutely sensational yesterday, man. This Indiana defense is looking super formidable. And it's crazy because when you look at the talent, like people are talking about, how great the team is and how much talent they have. But when you look at it on paper, man, Indiana is really low-key the underdogs. They're low-key the underdogs, man. They were talking about, 5-star talent, right? Out of the remaining teams, now it's only 2 remaining, right? Indiana has 7 4-star recruits, 0 5-stars. Oregon has 6 5-star recruits. They have 52 4-star recruits. Ole Miss, 3 5-star recruits, 33 4-star recruits. The University of Miami, 5 5-star recruit players and 40 4-star recruits. So Indiana, man, is here in a championship game with not one 5-star recruit on the whole damn roster, man. Not one on the whole damn roster. That is an amazing, amazing, amazing feat by Kurt Cignetti and these guys getting everything rocking and rolling. My guy, Mendoza line with the $5 slappy. The crazy thing is Mendoza is still getting better every game. The man is ascending. Yes, he is, man. And it looks like when the money's on the table and the moment gets bigger, Fernando Mendoza plays great. Now, this guy threw 5 touchdowns, man. He was lights out. He had more touchdowns than incompletions, man. Unbelievable. My guy Thomas, 98-24 with the $5 slapper rule. Wasted. Do you think about the cornerback from Indiana that got the pick 6? Yes, I do, man. Yes, I do. And we're going to get into it a little later, but I want to really, stay focused on, what happened in this game, man. I really want to stay focused on what happened in this game, man. Now, when you start talking about, this Indiana team, you got to start pointing to Kurt Cignetti being able to go out there and identify, players that are in a transfer portal that came from a lot of different situations, man. Like the Kobe Martins of the world. He got a lot of these guys, man, off the scrap heap. Like D'Angelo Pons. D'Angelo Pons is a little different, right? Like I think D'Angelo Pons might wind up being a first-round pick. I do. I know a lot of people won't agree with me because he's only 5'9", but D'Angelo Pons has been super productive every year he's been at Indiana, man. Like I know this year he had 55 tackles, 1 forced fumble, 2 interceptions, a touchdown. Like the last year, you could set your watch to the kid. Almost the same exact numbers last year. He had 3 picks last year, 1 touchdown. His first year, 52 tackles, 2 interceptions, 2 fumble recoveries. Like he is a guy that when he's around the football, good things happen for your defense. So D'Angelo Pons is a guy that I would love the Raiders. If he makes it to the 2nd, 3rd round, I would love to see the Raiders kick the tires on D'Angelo Pons during the draft, man. Telling you right now, man. My guy, Raider Jeff, I just want us to pick our coach before we get deep into the QB talk. That's really the first step at this point. Look, Jeff, the thing is this, right? Like, I think that the Raiders are currently searching for their quarterback, but there's so many moving parts here, right? Like, you got some of the coaches that are in their purview that are not taking interviews because they're on teams that are in the playoff hunt. They're in teams with people that are going to play tomorrow, right? So, I think that's part and parcel of the reason why they haven't selected their coach, right? But the evaluation continues. The evaluation continues. Now, I heard that, there were a lot of glowing reports out of Davis Webb. And Davis Webb, man, if he gets a job this hiring cycle, it would really remind me of when Sean McVay became a coach. Now, Davis Webb, I think, is like 31 years old or a little bit like 31, 32, 33, 1 or 2. I got to look it up. But I know when Sean McVay got hired, he was the youngest head coach to be hired ever in the National Football League. And Sean McVay has paid dividends, right? Like he was a guy that when the Rams did that, there were a lot of people who thought that they were smoking D&D, right? And he proved them wrong. He proved to be that next innovative young mind. And let's hope that if the Raiders do bring Davis Webb in, he is that kind of a talent. Right? And Webb is 32, so he'd be right in line with Sean McVay. The coaching carousel, we're going to get into a little of that. I got some news that John Harbaugh is definitely going to be the Giants coach too. If and only if, because I think he wants control of the roster. Either he has to be able to work with Joe Schoen or they got to fire Joe Schoen. I heard he was going to the Dolphins. I've heard a lot of different things, man. But let's get into the game, right? So, guys, a few things that I noticed about Mendoza, Moore, all these guys, right? When you talk about Dante Moore, man, I noticed that he doesn't seem super comfortable in the pocket. He doesn't have good pocket awareness at all. You know what I'm saying? He just seems like a guy that is a very, very talented college quarterback that really needs a lot more seasoning, man. A lot more seasoning. So I was right. He's 32. Okay. But I'm hearing that Harbaugh it's almost pretty much done. I heard stuff about the Giants, but to be real with you, I've heard that the Dolphins, pretty much cleaned house to bring John Harbaugh in, man. And this is the thing with Davis Webb. I don't necessarily know, and I got to look and I got to see if he's still in the contract with the Denver Broncos, because he might not be able to leave and make a lateral move, right? He might not be able to make a lateral move. Free thinker, let me ask you a question, man. Why am I tripping? What am I tripping about? What am I tripping, bro? You're putting it out there in the chat. You saying I'm tripping. What am I tripping about, sir? Let me know what I'm tripping about. I'm just a little confused, bro. What am I tripping about? I'm tripping about Mendoza. So, in what way? You don't think that Fernando Mendoza is the number one pick? Do you think Mendoza's bad? Like, free thinker, what do you think? I mean, elaborate, bro. You just throwing erroneous things into the chat. Let me tell you something. This is the proving ground here, bro. You can't just throw things up in the chat here and not elaborate, my brother. I mean, what do you mean? I mean, bro, we know who's better, man. We know who's better, man. Fernando's the guy, bro. Fernando's the guy. But look, with Dante Moore, man, Dante Moore is looking like a kid who you almost have to sit him on a bench if he comes into the National Football League. You almost have to sit him on the bench. He does not look like a kid that you could start next year. And even though he was 24 for 38, he had 285 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. It was some of the interceptions, the fumble. You know what I mean? It was a lot of things that made him look a little shaky, man. It made him look a little shaky, man. He is one of those guys that I'm telling you, especially with all the talent Oregon has, the fact that Oregon didn't boat race, Indiana is very, very telling. It is very, very telling, man. Very telling. The great and powerful way Sally. Yo, appreciate you, my dog. Salute to my guy, Fupa Trooper, man. My cousin's a scout for the Broncos. He said they are prepared to move on without Davis Webb. All right, D Rich, you heard it here first. I mean, look, man, Sean Payton, that's his offense over there. It's not like the Broncos, cannot bring in Davis Webb. I would like to see him brought in as an offensive coordinator before he gets brought in as a coach. He doesn't have any head coaching experience. He hasn't been an offensive coordinator yet. I would love to see what it was like if he came over here and worked under the tutelage of a guy like a Clint Kubiak, right? I don't necessarily know if there's any connections to the Shanahan tree with Davis Webb. Just him simply being in Denver in this particular time. I don't think that there is. He was in New York previous to this. So I don't know how those two styles will mesh together. But with Kubiak, man, there's a lot to work with some of these other people where you can kind of cross-pollinate and bring in a damn good staff, because the tentacles of the Shanahan tree loom very, very large, my brother. They loom very, very large, my brother. Mendoza is the number one pick. If they're not Raider fans and they don't understand that we need a quarterback, and he's showing flashes, I know he's going to make it in the NFL because he's the real deal. Junior Jimenez, look, man, what I think about, Fernando Mendoza is, like I said, man, he has the highest floor. He might not have the highest, when you start talking about, physical tools. Like, I don't know if you guys heard Coach JB today talking about Fernando Mendoza. Coach JB had a first round grade. He had a first round grade, a 5th round grade on Fernando Mendoza. which is crazy to me. It's crazy to me, man. So that means that him having a 5th round grade on him, I mean, Aiden O'Connell was taken in the 4th round. Aiden O'Connell was taken in the 4th round. Like, you know, to me, look, I don't know if it's necessarily a clickbait worthy thing that he was trying to get across, but I really, I think Coach JB, and I respect Coach JB. I really do. I respect Coach JB. You know, I listen to his show from time to time. Salute to Coach JB. Salute to Coach JB. Is no disrespect. You know, he knows quarterbacks. He's no bum. But I don't always agree with anybody, right? You know what I'm saying? I don't always agree with anybody. But guys, look, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna play this clip of Coach JB and Jason Whitlock, man, on Fearless.
Shedeur, is that what you just said?
I got him like, yeah, I said that Shedeur was a 5th rounder. He went in the 5th round. I was one of the only ones that I know on record that said it prior. And then, yeah, Mendoza's a 5th round guy.
I mean, my God. I mean, a 5th round. I mean, did you guys see that? A 5th round. I mean, what do you guys think about that? What do you think about that, man? I mean, do any of you guys do any of you guys watch Coach JB and Schmitty in the morning? I mean, what do y'all think about that, man? Salute to everybody in the chat. Get wasted with your brother wasted. Y'all gotta let me know, bro. Y'all gotta let me know. Y'all gotta let me know. What do you think about this? What do you think about this? See, listen. To me, if I'm being real, right? I really think that some of us understand that, you know, there's a fine line between content and clickbait, right? And I think that, you know, Coach JB has a big platform. He has a bigger platform than I do, right? So, you know, he has certain metrics he has to hit, right? Jason Whitlock, the same. I really think this is engagement farming at its finest, man. Salute to DeMarcus Webb, man. I really do, man. I really do. I think it's engagement farming, bro. There's no way that you can look at Fernando Mendoza, right? It is no way that you could break this down and do this. And yo, hey, just Mendoza. Hey, let me tell you something, bro. Yeah, me and Big Mike talked about this earlier, bro. We cover the same team. I'm giving my opinion on it. If you don't like it, then get the fuck out of my chat. Don't come over here with that shit, bro. You do this shit all the time. I remember you keep changing your name. I'm about to fucking block you, bro. And I don't really block anybody for real, but you're starting to piss me off. You fucking douchebag. A fucking loser, man. Coming over here with that crap, leaving all these diatribes and shit all on my fucking videos. I'm about to block your punk ass. But yeah, I definitely think it's engagement farming. I mean, listen, when you talk about, you know, Shedeur Sanders, you talk about Fernando Mendoza, right? Even with Shedeur, bro, I believe that 5th round grade, I think that was a lot of bullshit. I think that Shedeur Sanders is getting the raw deal. I think Fernando Mendoza is a guy that's going to most likely, you know, come into the league, and he's going to be I think his floor is probably Jared Goff, and that's a good thing. Like, Jared Goff was a guy that a lot of people had questions about coming out. Gulags, you go. The F up out of here. That's my problem. Shut your punk ass up. Yeah, but I really feel like when you start talking about Mendoza, you get a lot of people who are trying to shit all over the pick because he's coming to the Raiders. I really do. Like I just believe that if the Jets had the number one pick, if the Giants had the number one pick, if anyone else was taking him, I believe that they would evaluate him fairer than that. Yeah, that dude, hey, Top Beats. Yeah, my man is gone, bro. He's gone. He's gone. He is gone. The F up out of here with your crap. Motherfucker, like, I don't know. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, shut your punk ass up. I hate that guy. But yeah, the thing for me is this, right? When I see Fernando Mendoza, when I see the tools he has, when I see him throwing guys open, when I see him throwing back shoulder fades and all of that kind of stuff, that is the stuff that translates to the NFL. He made some NFL throws, man. Yeah, I've seen enough. Fast forward to the draft. Fernando Mendoza. No, this is Saturday Night Live, bro. This is not a family show. It's not a family show today. Yeah, I mean, listen. I mean, it is for me. So when we start talking about these guys, right? You got to look at, this Indiana team, man. You got a lot of young guys on this team that are going to be up to be drafted. I like Khalil Benson, the tackle that they got, Caden Turner, the linebacker Indiana has. They have a lot of players, man, that to me, aren't on everybody's radar, right? But these guys are gamers. They're ballers, man. A lot of these guys. Now, like Elijah Sarrett, this is a guy that most likely it's going to take a lot for him to get drafted, if I'm being honest. He's a 4'6", 40 guy, 6'2", 209 pounds. He started at a small FBS school, man, St. Francis at PA. And, he's come here and he's been very productive. I love how physical he is, though. I love how he's one of those guys that I can see coming to the National Football League. And if he gets a real shot, really growing, right? He had 42 receptions and 700 yards. He tied a program record. When he was at St. Francis, he had 13 touchdowns, and he just keeps moving up. Then Kirk Cignetti took him to James Madison, brought him over there, and then he brought him over here to Indiana, man. And in 2024, he was just super productive, man. He had 53 catches, 947 yards, 8 touchdowns, and definitely, his clutch performances, a lot of the stuff that he did over there, moving the chains, was just remarkable, man. And I'm starting to see a lot of that right now, man. But he is a hands catcher, man. And he pulls the ball away from defenders. And that's what I love about him. He reminds me of, and he doesn't play anything like Seth Roberts, but he reminds me of that kind of a player. He reminds me of that kind of a player, man. Now, they say Mike Evans. Mike Evans is a stud, man. He's nothing like Mike Evans, bro. He's nothing like Mike Evans, man. I'm telling you right now. That's definitely not the that's definitely not the comp for me, man. I mean, see, the thing is, it depends on when you get him. It depends on when you get him, bro. And yeah, you know what, Paper Chase? I don't want to put Keenan Allen on the kid because Keenan Allen is a perennial Pro Bowler, right? I don't know if he's going to project to be that in the National Football League. Like, real rap, I don't necessarily think he will. I mean, and the thing is, for me, I don't know. Like, look, you're going to have to look. People say you'd be okay with him in the third, but you're going to have to look at who's available, too, because there are a lot of other receivers that are out there. There's a lot of stud receivers out there that you might possibly want more than him, bro. He's a crafty route runner. You know what I'm saying? But the thing is, man, he doesn't have any speed, bro. And the thing is that caps his ability to be a vertical threat. He can't take the top off of a defense, man. And then the thing is, he needs to expand, his route tree. He has a very limited route tree, right? And like he relies on like curls and slants and things like that. He's a very nuanced player that has to be used properly, right? It kind of reminds me of Hunter Renfrow. Like Hunter Renfrow is a really good receiver, right? But he doesn't work everywhere. He doesn't work everywhere, right? Like, there's some people who, think that, he compares to favorably to a lot of physical receivers in the league, but he just has less explosiveness, right? He needs a little more route polishing though, right? And he could make some money, in them underneath intermediate routes, man. Definitely. My guy, Mendoza line. Any player you get from Indiana will be disciplined and coachable, right? But see, the thing about it is that this is one of the things, right? We love to talk about discipline and coachable, right? But you got to be tangible in the NFL. Like there's a certain level of physical ability you have to make it in the NFL. There's a certain amount of physical ability you just have to have. Like when you start talking about Fernando Mendoza has the physical ability, right? He is a first round talent. There's a lot of these Indiana guys that I don't necessarily know how they translate. Now, and Roy took the words right out of my mouth. Charlie Becker is a guy that, to me, I would, and I know, Sarah is more of the star, but Charlie Becker is the guy for me, man, that I would definitely kick the tires on, man. Definitely. And Cooper too. Man. That kid Cooper is a guy that I think will probably go a little higher because he has that speed. He got that speed, man. Omar Cooper Jr. He's a 4.4 guy. He's a 4.4 guy, and he's a 4-star guy. There's a little higher ceiling there. I think he would probably be the guy. He'd probably be the guy, man. But man, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. When you start talking about, this Indiana team is up against a freaking juggernaut in Miami. Miami, even though they're ranked 10th, Miami has a lot of talent, man. A lot of talent, bro. A lot of talent. Salute to everybody on Twitter too. Make sure you guys going out there and hit that subscribe button. Yeah, Omar Cooper Jr., man. That's a 4.4 guy. That's a little bit different, man. It's a little bit different. You said Washington State University, Bledsoe panned out, followed by Ryan Leaf, and a major immature flop. No one saw that coming. What are we talking about here, man? Yeah, he's Becker is looking like, I don't know how tall he is, man. But I tell you what, man, he looked phenomenal on that catch in the end zone, man. He made a sensational grab. I gotta look and see how tall he actually is, man. You know what I mean? But he's a guy that I can see. He reminds me, shout out to my guy OGDA. He was talking about that. Shout out to my guy OGDA, man. OGDA was saying that he reminds him of Cooper Kupp. And I gotta agree with that, man. I got to agree with that. But yeah, Charlie Becker, man, I'm gonna be real with you, man. This kid, and I want to see some numbers on him, man, because I'm just going strictly off the eye test with him. Strictly off the eye test. I don't necessarily know how tall he is, and I'm gonna find out for you guys in a hot second, right? But he's 6'3". No, he's actually 6'4", 209, 3-star recruit. 3-star recruit, man. I don't really have any of his numbers in the 40 and stuff like that. But man, I just like what I saw. I like what I saw yesterday, man. I love what I saw. Salute to everybody in the chat, man. Wasted. Bryce Young is balling. How the F do people want to pass on Mendoza? Yeah, man. Yeah. I mean, bro, look, listen, number one picks normally at least get you to a Super Bowl, right? My guy, Mortgage Loans Las Vegas, wasted. I hope we get the right coach. Who do you like as the front runner? And we're gonna get into some of these coaches, man. We're gonna get into some of these coaches. I mean, look, Kubiak as a play caller is a guy that you know, for me, he's the cleanest prospect as a coach for me, right? Because there are a lot of other coaches who have experience, right? You know, you have a guy like, say for instance, you have a guy like Stefanski, right? Stefanski has been two-time coach of the year, right? He has a big history. But the problem with Kevin Stefanski is like, bro, this is a guy that has baggage. This is a guy who, you know, reports are that he like last year, he kind of lost the team earlier, not last year, but earlier this season. He lost the team. A lot of the young guys don't, you know, he's a guy that strikes me with that Josh McDaniel gene, that unlikability factor, right? The thing about being in a room of players and being in a room of physical marvels in the National Football League, alpha male players, just alphas, right? You got to be the kind of person that can be able to garner their respect. You got to garner their respect. And the problem with that is this. NFL players are not these trained monkeys, man. These guys have feelings, and you have to be able to relate on them on a level where they relate to you, and also in turn that they'll follow you. You know, a lot of these players, man, get to a point when you get coaches like Stefanski, when they lose respect for him, they're like, hey, man, why the fuck should I listen to you? Why should I listen to you? Why should I listen to you? You know, and that's one of the things people don't understand. Like, yo, having the kind of charisma and gravitas that make people follow you is a big part of how good of a head coach you can be. What coach do you pair with Mendoza? And I've been saying it. I think Kubiak's the guy, because when I look at Fernando Mendoza, right, there are a lot of comps. Jared Goff. You have Matt Ryan, which was a great one. Yo, my guy Raider War Report did a great. He did a great breakdown of Ryan and Mendoza. Great breakdown. I saw it on Twitter. Salute, right? But the thing is this, right? When you talk about him, the current guy that I look at and I see some Mendoza is Sam Darnold. And look at what Kubiak is doing with Sam Darnold. Now, see, this is the thing about Kubiak that I am concerned about. There are some people that think that even though Mike McDaniel is a defensive head coach, there are a lot of people that think that offense and what's happening there in Seattle is strictly because of the coach and how brilliant the head coach is. But for me, when I start looking at Kubiak, man, he comes from that Shanahan family tree, right? A lot of stretch runs, you know, a great running offense, you know. So I'm going to be real. I really would like to see how that works with Fernando Mendoza. I think his skill set lines up with a Shanahan offense, man. My guy, Raider Jeff, don't hurt me, but what's so wrong about thinking of trading out of one with all the needs we have, the extra picks? It will help. And the early picks will help with that. See, this is the thing, right? You got to look at it like this, Raider Jeff. You got to look at it like this. So say for instance, let's go back, because Raider Jeff, you're an older guy, right? Like me. Go back to 1998, right? And go back to the year that the Colts had the number one pick and Peyton Manning and Ryan Leaf were coming out. And everybody knew Peyton Manning was the guy. Everybody knew Peyton Manning was the number one pick. They knew it. Everyone knew it. Everyone. And when you start evaluating Peyton Manning, right, and you see him, you see what he can be, right? How many number one picks would someone trade if you can give them a crystal ball and when you're drafting number one, you see your quarterback and you're like, man, this guy could be a future Hall of Famer. This guy could lead us to a Super Bowl, right? Or if you're drafting Patrick Mahomes and you're looking in your purview, you're like, this guy is going to be a superstar in this league. How many number one picks would it take for you to get a Peyton Manning or Patrick Mahomes? And I'm not saying that Fernando Mendoza is that kind of a talent, right? Right? How many number one picks would you be willing to give up for them? You couldn't give enough of those. You couldn't give enough. You could not give enough first round picks, bro. Right? So if the Raiders think that Fernando Mendoza could even be Joe Burrow, if they think that he can even be Jared Goff, who has gotten to a Super Bowl, if you think that he is a guy that can be a top 5 to 10 quarterback in his league, you couldn't give enough first round picks for that. Quarterback is the most important position in professional sports, hands down, bar none. And that draft capital doesn't mean anything if you don't have certain things on the roster to move that whole situation forward. Right? So if you don't have, the quarterback to drive the car in a subsistent level, it doesn't really mean anything. If you have, you go out there and you get an offensive line and you get Genty and then you go out there and get a wide receiver and then you got a terrible trash quarterback, it don't mean anything. It means nothing. Kenny P, come on, bro. Mendoza's not good enough to have success on the Raiders. Mendoza's the most overrated QB to come out in decades. Bro, I think that you are sadly mistaken if you think this kid is overrated. Do I think that he's going to come into the league and light the league up? No. But do I think he is going to be a starter from day one? He's going to come in here and play well and put us in a situation we're going to compete for the playoffs and be able to build this roster around him? Yes. And the problem with this is that, people do not look at coaching. This year, we had a roster that could have competed on some level, right? But when you have a problem up front with the trenches, right? And you have a guy like Brendan Carroll that is destroying your team. It's crazy, bro, for you to think that drafting a young quarterback that is smart, has a great work ethic, he's 6'5", he can move, has a decent arm, has great ball placement. I don't understand what we're looking at here. We need competent quarterback play, bro. What else, bro? That's right. Mendoza is a 10-year Raider problem that is solved. Day one. My guy, George Cortinez, man. Been a member for 16 months. Super Bowl's coming sooner rather than later. Salute to my guy, George Cortinez, man. Salute to my guy, Raider Jeff, for bringing this up too, man. Yo, get wasted with your brother wasted. I would love a Kubiak, Davis Webb, and Raheem Morris combo. Love the content as always, man. Appreciate you, my brother. Appreciate you, man. And yo, I would love that too. I would definitely love that, man. That'll be number one with a bullet. Number one with an effing bullet. Yo, my guy, Night Lord sympathizer with the $2 slappy. He will be a superstar. People are just hating. I don't know if he's going to be a superstar. I think he's going to be a solid quarterback. And I think with the ability to rise above the level that he's playing now. Salute to my guy, Raider Jeff. Thank you. You gave the most concise answer to a question I've asked many times, and most just say I'm stupid for asking. Thank you. Raider Jeff, come on, bro. There's no stupid questions, bro. You know this team. You know this roster. You understand. It's just, bro, when we look at it, bro, and I got mad love for Raider Jeff, man. Salute to Raider Jeff. But see, this is the thing. For me, bro, when you start playing games, when you got the golden ticket, you got Willy Wonka's golden ticket, you got the number one pick, you get to control the draft. I think that you have to take advantage of that. Because if you trade out and you get all of these first round picks, right? Cool. But you might not be able to get in a position to draft a young quarterback. And the way you build in this league is rookie quarterback on a rookie deal, young quarterback, and you build the rest of the roster around him. You know, and there's a lot of people that say that. I don't think, you know, I really don't think we can afford to be cute. Seriously. Seriously. And there's a lot of people that say, yo, you know, they talk about Mendoza, they talk about his tape from Cal. It's a different situation. And my God, top beats. The key, as I see it with Mendoza, is the coach Spytek chooses to help develop Mendoza, who I believe is the right coaching person who can in fact be a star, Super Bowl winner. Yeah, bro. I think people don't realize how important it is what play callers here. Like, if I'm being honest, yo, if I'm being honest, right? I remember people saying the same thing about CJ Stroud. I remember people saying the same thing about Bryce Young. Bryce Young is in the playoffs right now. He's losing, right? CJ Stroud's been going to the playoffs. I remember people picking CJ Stroud apart, bro. And look at the way the Texans are. Irish Larry Mullins. Mendoza is a superstar and probably the best QB prospect I've ever seen. I've seen everything from Marino to May. What the F y'all talk about? I don't know if he's the best QB prospect we've ever seen. I mean, and you tripping there. I mean, Andrew Luck and all these fucking guys like Peyton Manning and Andrew Luck. I mean, come on, bro. Kind of tripping there, bro. You were kind of tripping, man. Yeah, Carolina, man, they screwed the pooch, man. Carolina is Carolina and the Rams advanced, and that was a tough game. They played the Rams tough this year. Yeah, Burrow might be rated higher too. And they say, you know, we got to fix the O-line. I think now, see, guys, when you start talking about, you know, the offensive line, right? I don't think this offensive line is as far away as we think. I think this offensive line for the Raiders can be fixed with some of the guys that Indiana has on their roster. Now, there's a guy that I talked about a couple of days ago. Big Mike spoke about him again today. Pat Coogan, man. Now, Pat Coogan is a guy, and I told you guys before, we talked about him a few episodes of Raider Nation Unlimited. I was up on Pat Coogan from when he was at the University of Notre Dame, right? And for me, you know, Coogan is probably my 6th ranked center in this year's draft, right? You know, I got Jake Slaughter from Florida ranked ahead of him. I got Connor Lew ranked ahead of him. And I got Parker Brailsford from Alabama ranked ahead of him. The kid Lulalu from Oregon, their center too. I got him ranked ahead of Coogan, but I got Coogan right after that, right? Now, and Coogan is a guy that came out of Notre Dame, right? He's battle tested, big lineman, man. From South Bend. You know, he made that little move from Notre Dame and into Indiana, right? And you know, Notre Dame's offensive line has been a factory. It's been a who's who, man, from Quentin Nelson, you know, Joe, all of these guys, man. So, you know, the thing for me is this, right? He was like, you know, a formidable duo with Joe Alt. He helped power one of the best offensive lines in school history, man. And you know, he left, he came to Indiana, and now, you know, he's ready to rock and roll, and he's going to be in the draft, man. Now, they have him as a 3-star recruit, but his technical foundation and his development, bro, is something that kind of caught the eye of Cignetti. And I think that, you know, at this point, man, he is a guy that if the Raiders are looking about keeping Jackson Powers Johnson at center, you'd have to really, really consider him, man. I mean, he has great hand placement, man. Great hand placement. You know what I mean? He has good feet. Really, really, really good center, man. Really good center, man. So he's a guy you want to keep your eye on. Now, when we go back and we start talking about some of these other guys from this Indiana offensive line, man, yo, we have to get into my guy, Carter Smith, man. Carter Smith, big tackle. You know, he's been in Bloomington balling, right? You know, and Carter Smith is a 6'5", you know, big dude, man. Big dude. Big dude. And see, the thing is for me, man, you know, I'm more so, looking at linemen. I know that, I think that we have a lot of guys on this roster as far as linemen go that are ready to rock and roll next year. I think that, when you have a good coach that come in and kind of develop these guys, this line is going to be fine. I think the Raiders need like about one free agent, but at the end of the day, I think we're going to be good what we have. But the reason why I'm looking at a lot of young trench guys is that the thing for me is more so about, depth. It's about depth. You need depth in this league, bro. That's part of the reason why the Raiders struggled this year, because there was no depth. There was no depth, man. There was no depth. There's a lot of guys on these two rosters that you can bring in. That kid would be a great backup. Great backup, man. Do you think Kubiak is a leader of men? I also doubt Webb will be an OC if he can't call plays. Kubiak will call the plays. I mean, he might not. I mean, I don't know. I mean, he's not called. Davis Webb isn't calling plays now, right? Sometimes it's about making that move up because he's not an offensive coordinator now. But I don't necessarily know if Kubiak is a leader of men yet. I don't. I don't know, his level of charisma. I know his name is being floated around the league, and for good reason, right? The thing is with him and with any coach, right? I think you win guys respect by doing your job well. By doing your job well and being consistent. So I don't necessarily know what Clint Kubiak's personality is, but I'm gonna be honest, man. Like I have to give grace to a guy who grew up in the National Football League. You got to give grace to a guy who grew up in the National Football League. Redeloso. Charles Grant looks extremely promising. Put him at right tackle next year. Yeah, I mean, look, you got him. You got DJ Glaze, who can be a backup. Look, you got a lot of young players, right? You got a lot of young players. And you got a lot of guys that are really, really gonna, I think they're gonna blossom under new leadership in that building. My God, Mr. Jay Willis with the $5 slap of room. You have a Corvette and Bowers in the garage with no driver. Get the quarterback, Mendoza. That's a fact, man. That is an effing fact, bro. My guy, Mendoza line with the $5 slappy. I think the word is out on Webb. And it may be better to be early on him than to miss out. And I do too. Like the thing is this, right? If Davis Webb is the next Sean McVay, then that's nothing but right. But the problem is that you're taking a player who's never been an offensive coordinator and elevating him, right? So when we start looking at Sean McVay's coaching journey, right? Because to me, Sean McVay is damn near the best coach in the league, right? And when you start looking at Sean McVay's coaching career, Tampa Bay, he was an offensive assistant. He's a wide receivers coach in like the UFL. He was an offensive assistant in Washington, tight ends coach in Washington. He was offensive coordinator for 2 years in Washington, 2014 to 2016. And then he got hired as head coach. And there were a lot of people who they talked a lot of crap about that. Sean McVay is another guy that coached under Mike Shanahan. The Shanahan system and the coaches that have come out of that they are the coaching tree that I trust the most. They really are, man. They really, really are, man. He also was up under Jay Gruden. And when you look at it, McVay had a direct impact on developing Kirk Cousins into like kind of a franchise quarterback, man. Turn him into a Pro Bowler. And I think that is the reason why Sean McVay got those looks where they kicked the can on him as a head coach because of his success with Kirk Cousins, man. Raider Jeff says, I'm still not sold on Mendoza. Sorry. Listen, Raider Jeff, look, that's cool. That's cool. Yo, bro, listen. I'm gonna be honest with you. Some people evaluate players differently, right? Like some people evaluate players off of measurables. There are people who will sit up there and tell you that, Joe Milton is going to be a star. I like measurables, right? But when you talk about like quarterbacks, right, there are a lot of boxes that you have to check. There's people that say that Mendoza run weed quarterback, and that's bullshit. Because I can see his head moving. I can see him looking guys off and throwing in between coverages and things like that. Mendoza is just a guy that processes fast, very smart young man. He puts the ball where it belongs. And to me, that's all I need, Raider Jeff. That's what I need. I need somebody that's going to stand in that pocket, understand the playbook, a guy that's a hard worker, a leader, a guy who doesn't have social media. He's not out there trying to do anything else but play well at quarterback. I'm sold on the kind of person he is. I'm sold on the work ethic, and I'm sold on the body of work. Like, a lot of people like to win the underwear Olympics. Everybody wants to win the underwear Olympics, bro. Yo, to me, it's more about what you put on tape. I mean, my God, man, the guy, look what he put on tape last night, bro. I mean, against a very talented team, a team that's more talented than the roster he has. Like, I mean, come on, bro. He goes, I think I'm not sold on him because his college team is stacked. I would take a chance at Drew Allard, and I like Allard, but bro, his team is not stacked. It's not stacked. It's a bunch of 3-star recruits, bro. If you watched the show earlier, Oregon is more stacked than Indiana. Oregon's more stacked. Yo, Indiana has 0 5-star players. They have 7 4-star players. As opposed to, Oregon, 52 4-star players, bro. 6 5-star players. Oregon has a multitude more talent than them, bro. Like, let's be for real here, my man. Like, yo, Raider Jeff, don't make the evaluation of the quarterback be more complicated, bro. Don't be in that mindset of the Raiders of the past. This is the reason why the Raiders have been in a basement for years, because we won't just take a swing. We want the quarterback to be like a definite. We want to skip steps. We want to skip steps with our coach. We want to go out there. They go out there. A coach who's won already. Oh, it's easy. Let's just go get him. That ain't how this works, bro. You got to go and identify the next John Gruden, not rehire John Gruden for a third time. You got to go identify the next Tom Brady. You got to find that guy. That's what good organizations and organizations that win do. They go and draft guys and they make the situation work. There's not a whole lot that separates a lot of these young quarterbacks, bro. The things that separate these young quarterbacks is this: the players around them, the organization from top to bottom being on the same sheet of music, everyone believing in that particular player, putting the tools and resources in place for the kid to be successful, and removing obstacles. Removing obstacles. Salute to my guy, DeMarcus Webb, man. Appreciate you, my brother. Appreciate you, man. Fire Live tonight. Wasted. Great dialogue, man. Appreciate you, my brother. Appreciate you, my brother. But salute to my guy, man. The guy has no 5 stars. I mean, yeah, IU is full of 2 and 3 star late bloomers, man. Come on, you got to give him credit for that, man. This is not like Ken Dorsey, quarterback in the Miami Hurricanes back in the day. Now, listen, people say the age average on that college team is 23 years old. So is that a plus? That might not be a plus, bro. These are late bloomers. And bro, Carson Beck is a guy that, listen, I'm gonna be real. I think Miami is probably gonna win that game. I'm gonna go on record and say that. I think Miami's gonna win, bro. You know, like I'm telling you right now, man. My salute to everybody in the chat. Salute my brother Rudy the Vet Russo in the place to be, man. People say no shot. I mean, Miami. Everybody's saying Miami's gonna get smoked, bro. Listen, don't drink the hopium, bro. Don't give us the listen. Miami is a loaded team. It's a loaded defense. Carson Beck. That's not, you're not dealing with Dante Moore. Carson Beck should have been in the draft last year. Carson Beck, bro, you're not gonna fool him with disguising your coverages and stuff. You're not. Miami has a lot of fucking talent, bro. A lot. That's it. When they get off the bus and you see that team, that's a team of big physical guys that are going to the National Football League. You know, people say Carson Beck is trash. How the fuck can you say that? Bro, Carson Beck is a damn good college quarterback. He's a phenomenal college quarterback. The guy is in the championship game again with another team. You guys forget what he did at Georgia? Carson Beck is not, I don't know if he's going to be a good pro, but as a college quarterback, he is a good college quarterback, bro. And then when you start talking about, you know, coaching, Cristobal is the equal to Cignetti. You guys say, yo, he got carried. Bro, listen. Say that about Dante Moore. Dante Moore's supposed to have hung the moon. Dante Moore's supposed to have hung the moon, and this guy got more. He got almost as much talent as Oregon, and they got boat raced. I think a lot of times, you know, you guys listen to, you know, narratives. Carson Beck is he's a good college quarterback. I don't think he's going to be a great pro, but he's a damn good college quarterback. Salute to my guy, Daniel Magnana. I don't care what nobody says. You draft Mendoza, that boy is him. And he's facing and winning against the best teams in college football. That's salute, man. Salute, my brother. Appreciate you, bro. And salute to my brother, Big Mike Raider, for blessing the channel with 10 Raider Nation Unlimited memberships. Congratulations to the new members, y'all. Yo, I'm not saying it's all Beck. What I'm saying to you is that why can't two, like, bro, no disrespect, right? But a lot of you guys, man, think that two things can't be true at the same time. Carson Beck has played well, and the defense is phenomenal. Can't two things be the same? I mean, they're two sides of the football. I mean, what the F are we talking about here? The F are we talking about? The F are we talking about? Beck is experienced, man, and Miami is loaded, like my man Larry Mullins is saying, bro. I mean, IU could win the game, and nothing would surprise me, but don't be surprised if they lose to Miami, bro. You know, and now all of a sudden, Carson Beck's trash. Well, people were saying he was going to be the #1 pick the last 2 years. At one time before the 2024 college football season, Beck was supposed to be a top 5 pick. You damn right. You damn right. What round am I drafting Carson Beck? No higher than the 4th round. He's 4th rounder than me. But he's a good college quarterback. Tim Tebow was a phenomenal. He's one of the great college quarterbacks ever. He just didn't translate in the NFL. The college game and the program are two different things, bro. There were some guys who didn't do that great in college that came in the NFL and cooked. I mean, listen, bro. Big Mike Raider. I believe Carson Beck has only lost 4 times in his career. When he's hot, but he's streaky. He's a good college player, bro. He's a very good college player. That has won a national title already. I mean, you guys got to chill, man. You got to chill with this shit. Saying that the guy's fucking trash. How's he trash? I mean, look, man, there's a lot of guys in this draft, man, that I'm excited about. There's a lot of young players that I am excited about in this damn draft, bro. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, man, we can't trick ourselves out of, our spot as a team, man, with Fernando Mendoza. We can't do it. We could not do it. You got a lot of these guys from Indiana that are probably not going to get drafted, bro. I know Surratt's going to get drafted. Mendoza's going to get drafted. D'Angelo Pons is going to get drafted. Kamara is a guy that, it's going to be rough. He's 6'1", he's 260, he's an edge rusher. He's a 4'8" guy. That's not super fast. He seems like his career is probably going to stop in the college ranks. And Roman Hembry, 4'4" guy, 6 foot running back, looks like he'll be a good backup running back in the National Football League. But this Indiana team has very good college players. A lot of these guys are not going to, translate to the NFL, like as opposed to Oregon, where you got guys like Agunlie, Washington, the defensive tackle, Kenyon Sadiq and all of them guys. Those guys are going to be playing on Sundays next year. Those guys will be playing on Sunday next year. Isaiah World, 6'8", 318. Big body tackle. These are guys that are going to be playing next year, man. Salute to you guys in the chat, man, for getting wasted with your brother wasted this whole time, man. My guy Raider Ribs is in a place, man. Wasted. I would trade if possible to the Jets to get a haul, take Trinidad, a defensive player, and a Lar in the fourth. Every else defense, O-line free. I wouldn't do that at all. I like Trinidad Chambliss, and he's going to have to come out. But guys, once again, looking at a guy like Trinidad Chambliss, right, that screams to me of a guy who played great in college, who is going to have to do a lot to be productive in the National Football League. You don't trade the opportunity to get the number one quarterback in any draft. I'm sorry. You don't want to be cute. So let me ask you a question as Raider fans, right? Just walk with me really quickly. If you were to pass on Fernando Mendoza, he goes to the Jets, he becomes a superstar, how stupid would you feel as the Raiders? This will be the same shit as when the Raiders didn't move up when they had a trade in place to get C.J. Stroud. Especially when the main thing you need to turn this shit around is a quarterback, and you got linemen there, right? Spytek addressed the line last year. And guess what? We're going to go over a few free agents before the show is over that the Raiders can bring in. You know what I mean? To kind of short his lineup. I think the Raiders only need one free agent. They only need one free agent, bro. They need one free agent. They need to get 2 of these guys out of here, and they need to draft a lot of the backups and develop them guys. Yeah, yo, Leaky, I like Francis Mayoga too, man. He's the truth. But Leaky, if we're taking Mendoza, Mayoga's not going to be there. He's not going to be there, bro. He is going to be. I think he is one of the three offensive linemen that'll be off the board first, man. And when you start talking about Trinidad Chambliss, he's a very good college quarterback. He is, and maybe he might go to the league and get on like how Malik Willis. Like, he reminds me of a guy whose career trajectory is going to take on that Malik Willis trajectory. He has to go to the right situation, though. He's not a guy that I'm bringing to the Raiders and hanging the franchise on Trinidad Chambliss, bro. And Raider Ribs, I get it. I get it, bro. I get it. A lot of people want to be wild. some people want to be wild. Some people want to see the quarterback uncork that football and throw that shit 75 yards. Some people want to see Dan Marino. You want to see guys like that, right? I remember when Kansas City moved up to get Mahomes, and people were saying, "Oh, I don't know, he's very raw, and this, that, and the third." Guess what, though? The measurables was off the charts, right? This is the thing for me. The Raiders don't need somebody that's off the charts. They need somebody that is just productive and good. Like, bro, everybody wants to draft a quarterback and say that the Raiders are going to be in a Super Bowl in 3 years. We got to get back to respectability first. Like, we got to start making the playoffs again. Like, for me, if we get to the point where we're in the playoffs perennially, then we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Carol Rader said Patrick Mahomes didn't wow nobody before the draft. See, bro, I don't necessarily think that is a thing. Patrick Mahomes, if he had nothing else, right? His college numbers were insane. His college numbers were insane, bro. You cannot say that. And everybody knew how physically talented Mahomes was, bro. Patrick Mahomes, his last year in college at Texas Tech, my man had 5,000 yards and 41 touchdowns, bro. The year before that, he had 4,600 yards, almost 5, and 36 touchdowns. 65% completion percentage, 63%. Bro, my man had 5,000 fucking yards, man. I mean, does that wow you, bro? Does that wow you? Yeah, he was the 10th pick. And what I'm saying to you is this, right? It's about taking the right guy. It's about taking the right guy. It's not always about taking the rank and file guy that everyone says is the number one guy. And yeah, people knocked him on his maturity and footwork, and he's a mature, great kid. He just shows moxie and fire. A lot of people get turned off when they see quarterbacks show that fire and that moxie, and they got that dog in them like him. I listen, for me, my expectation of what Fernando Mendoza can be is a little different. A lot of you guys are like, yo, he going to be the next this and next that. I think Mendoza is going to be a top 10 to 15 guy. I think that's the basement for him. And that's why I'm drafting. That's why I'm drafting him. And guess what? The number pick doesn't matter. It don't matter, bro. As long as you address a need and you address the right need. Sometimes you draft BPA. Sometimes you draft for need. And sometimes those two things come together as a marriage. That's the situation the Raiders are in right now. Most fans don't know talent. That's why they aren't GMs. Mendoza outplayed every single QB that was supposed to be generational. Mendoza is easily the best QB to come out in 5 years. Swag bag, I don't know about that. But, yo, he's definitely great, man. I mean, let's talk about Mendoza playoff stats. 31 for 36, 86.1%, 369 yards, 8 touchdowns, 0 picks, averaging 10 yards per attempt, while also contributing on the ground with 44 yards. I mean, come on, man. Raider War Report says, people want Mike Vick. I want Troy Aikman. Could have said it better myself. Couldn't have said it better my effing self, man. But guys, look. We really, there was a lot of things that I wanted to talk into, and this thing has like devolved into, defending. And guys, I respect everybody who has that opinion. Respect to you guys, right? But listen, Dante Moore to me, looks like he needs to go back to college. But if he comes back, he's a kid that can be successful at the next level, man. You know, I like the way he responded on his second drive. He completed 5 of 7 passes. He completed a 19-yard strike to tight end Jamari Johnson to tie the game. And, you know, they say he had a poor showing. There were some positives, man. He's a sophomore. He showcased his arm talent, 43-yard deep ball to McClellan. You know, but the only thing was he just, you know, he got off to a rough start, man. I mean, he had some drops from some of these guys, but he got off to a rough start in the Peach Bowl, man. And, you know, first pass was intercepted, and that kind of set the tone of the game, man. It set the tone of the game, man. You know, Moore turned the ball over, and this is something we got to look at. Pocket awareness. Pocket awareness is an issue for me, right? Pocket awareness is huge to me, right? He did not receive a whole hell of a lot of help from that all-star offensive line and that running back room, right? You know, they had to turn into a rookie running back. But look, this was a poor performance of Moore and that entire team, right? Like, you know, it wasn't, you know, the same, you know, when you start talking about Mendoza. There was really, really nothing that Mendoza did that was bad. The only thing that I can see from Mendoza is he needs to learn how to freaking slide. And sometimes he has a little bit of an issue feeling the pressure. You know, he had got sacked by Wyatt and forced a fumble, which was recovered by Mendoza. But that's the only bad thing I can kind of see. It was one of the few mistakes that he made overall, right? But other than that, man, you know, I can't really find much fault with what Mendoza did, man. He was flawless, man. In the first half, man, he pretty much slammed the door on him. And, you know, there's not a whole lot I could say bad about, you know, that performance, man. There's not a whole lot I could say. Yo, shout out to the almost 700 of you guys in the room, man. Just Raiders, baby. Wasted. People don't understand this all again. But if we trade our pick for more picks, majority don't pan out. Mendoza does what he does, then what? We will get to number 1 again. Spy will make an educated guess, bro. It's more so for me, bro. Listen, if I get a good wide receiver, a decent lineman, and like a rotational defensive tackle from what I get, or I get a starting quarterback, to me, those 3 picks don't equate to that one starter. If I get a guy that's my starting quarterback and he's a startable quarterback, and you don't have any questions at that position for the foreseeable future, to me, that's worth his weight in gold. To me, that's worth his weight in gold. He said, please learn how to slide, man. But guys, look, you know, one of the things I wanted to do before I got out of here, right? I want to do a mock draft. If you guys will humor me. I mean, if you guys will humor me, man, I want to do a mock draft. Let's do us a mock draft, yo. So we are going to fire up the PFF mock draft simulator. I have, you know, the really good mock draft simulator. You know, I subscribe to PFF. You know, we're gonna go for the Raiders, right? And we're gonna enter this draft. I am going to share the draft with you guys. I ain't going to share the draft with you guys. And guess what, guys? All you guys that are hating on this mock draft, you guys can go and suck an egg, you bunch of bums. You effing bums, you. God Family Football with a $10 slap a room. Spy Tech won't overthink it this year. All trade calls are going to voicemail. Mendoza's biggest attribute is between his ears. The throws versus Oregon were NFL QB throws. Lines will be addressed in free agency, bro. I couldn't have said it better myself. We're going to do this mock draft, and we're going to go over some free agent options, and then we're going to get out of here, guys. This has been a Saturday Night Live, man, and it's been a most splendiferous occasion, man. So, look, the Raiders are on the clock. We're going to start the draft. I'm not going to get cute. The Raiders need our quarterback. You know, we are taking Fernando Mendoza. So now, right, we got a situation where, you know, I think PFF is kind of being prisoners of the moment here. So look, the Raiders need to address this defense in a real way, right? Like, we don't know what's going to happen with, you know, this defensive line, man. We don't necessarily know what's going to happen with, you know, Max Crosby going forward. You know, Malcolm Kuntz won't be here. We missed on Tyree Wilson, right? And the Raiders definitely need to address the trenches. So I am going to operate off of, you know, the guides that we address the offensive line in free agency, right? So it is between Mateo Agunglier, right, who is an edge, who is a beast, 82 overall grade PFF, or Washington, right? So Washington, you know, this is a guy that I want to draft, but I'm gonna go and I'm gonna get my edge rusher to pair with Max Crosby. Edge rushers for positional value kind of rank more for me, right? Now we're gonna continue to address this defense, right? We're gonna continue to address this defense, man. You know, we need to address all three levels of this defense, and that's what I'm prepared to do in this draft, man. Now you got guys like Daniels and Trigg and Nussmeier and all these guys, but man, I'm gonna go get one of the best linebackers in this draft in Taurine York, man. Taurine York is an absolute monster, man. Taurine York is a monster. He is a monster linebacker, man. So, you know, hold on. I just lost my tab here. I'm gonna select a linebacker in the third round, Taurine York. Right. So now, right, we haven't addressed our offensive line, right? Because, yo, to me, this is a trenches draft, right? Isaiah World, the big 6'8" tackle from Oregon. So we got our right tackle and left tackle of the future, right? So we went edge, right? And now, yo, we gotta start really thinking about, you know, this defense on another level. I want to hit every level of this defense, right? And Malik Muhammad from Texas is a damn fine pick. You know, we need to improve that cornerback room going on with Porter, right? So now we're in a situation where, you know, we can go out there and get a Jalen Kilgore, right? We can get another linebacker. We also can, you know, address this situation that we have, you know, at wide receiver. Pat Coogan is still available. I love Pat Coogan, right? But as of right now, for me, man, I'm definitely going to, you know, go out there and I'm going to get myself another corner, man. Jalen Kilgore, get me another corner, man. So we're addressing his defense in a real way, man. A real way. What do you guys like, man? So let's look at what we've done, yo. Let's look at what we've done so far in this mock. Let's look at what we've done so far in this mock. We have our quarterback of the future. We have a young guy with a first round grade we got in the second round to pair with Max Crosby. We got a terrific young linebacker to help this defense. That's something that we have not done a whole lot, right? We have a situation where we got our left tackle of the future in Isaiah Ward, a big 6'8" Isaiah Ward. You know, Colton Miller should be healthy next year, but if we're being honest, Colton Miller's been hurt a lot. This is the kind of kid that you would want to bring off the bench to replace Colton Miller, and you can leave Charles Grant at right tackle, and you'll have your line short up for the next 6 to 7 years. Malik Muhammad and Jalen Kilgore kind of rounds out that young cornerback room because you're going to lose a lot of those guys in that cornerback room. You're bringing in depth, you're bringing in talent, right? So now we're in a situation where, you know, when I look at this team, right, I think that we need to go out there, and there are some young guys that we could possibly pair, you know, with our young quarterback, right? Or we can go out there and we can go get us another running back, man. we can go get us another running back, man. So when you start talking about, running backs, that are coming out of the draft, right? Some of these running backs, that are coming out. I want you guys to see some of the rankings and stuff like that, right? But some of the rankings in this draft, man. Jeremiah Love is the number 1 ranked running back. Jonah Coleman is number 2. Emmett Johnson, young beast out there, right? But Emmett Johnson from Nebraska. So you got Nicholas Singleton. There's a lot of young running backs out there that are really, really talented. And I think that the Raiders need to kind of address that, right? So for me, right, I can wait because we got some left and I'm going to go BPA. We have not really, really addressed in a real way this safety room, right? And I'm going to do more defense, right? We haven't addressed this safety room, and we also haven't addressed up front. I'm going to take Xavier Harris. I like Xavier Harris. I think he's going to be a stud at the next level. Now we're in a situation where, we can either go wide receiver or we can go running back. And I want to ask you guys, what do you guys think, man? Wide receiver or running back? We do not need a running back. We need a wide receiver. We do not need another running back. No, why would we not need another running back, bro? You need somebody to back up Ashton Genty. You can't just let him get running to the ground, bro. You need somebody to back Ashton Genty up, and it can't be Zamir White. You need a running back, bro. Back. You want a 2-headed monster in this league, bro. And see, this is the thing for me. I'm not drafting guards because if I'm really looking at it, right? Like when you start talking about taking, because we took some guys in the trenches, right? We really have guys that so let's just say, for instance, Charles Grant is the starter, right? Let's just say Charles Grant is the starter, right? Or let's just say we go out there in free agency and we go get Tyler Linderbaum. So you got Caleb Rogers, right? You have DJ Glaze, who will probably move over to guard, and you have JPJ that's possibly a guard. So you got 3 young guards in the building, right? You would want to go get a backup center. Now, Parker Brailsford is the 3rd ranked center in this draft, right? But I think we need a running back, man. I really do. Now I'm looking at some of the wide receivers, right? And some of these wide receivers are pretty damn good. You know what I'm saying? Some of these wide receivers that are left are pretty good, man. You know what I mean? You got guys in this draft, man, like, that are going, right? Jordan Tyson's going, Carnell Tate's going, Makai Lemon's going, right? But, there are other young guys that are still available, man. There are other guys. And let me see who we got available in this draft. Let me try to land the plane on this. Key, Brennan Thompson, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna be real with you. I like what's left at running back a little bit better than wide receiver. So I'm gonna go BP. I'm getting me a running back, man. I'm gonna go and draft Jaden Ott. I like Jaden Ott, man. Oscar Delp is a good young tight end. He's a good guy. We got Michael Mayer. We kind of really don't need him. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna draft Parker Brailsford. He's one of the best centers in this draft. And you know what? We have not gotten a wide receiver this draft, and I think we need to. Deshaun Strickland. So look, I think this was a damn good draft, man. This draft was at A-. So look, this defense has a lot of young talent on it right now. This defense is a lot. We got our quarterback of the future, A+. We got a edge rusher to back Max up. We got a starting linebacker who is super talented. We have our left tackle of the future in Isaiah World. We got 2 young cornerbacks to go along with Porter. You know what I'm saying? 2 young, big, rangy corners. We got Xavier Harris. We have a defensive interior guy to go along with Tonka Hemingway and JJ Pegues, who is a very, very, very talented young player, man. Parker Brailsford can be our center or our backup center, and Deshaun Stribling, man. A guy that's going to surprise a lot of people coming out of Ole Miss. He's one of Trinidad Chambliss's best targets, man. You know what I mean? He's a guy that was productive this year, man. He was productive this year, 6'2", 200 pounds, man. Very, very productive this year. 811 yards this year, 6 touchdowns, 6'2". Big boy, man. Big boy. He's the #1 wide receiver down there in Ole Miss. We got him in the 7th round. I don't see how this is a bad draft, man. I don't see how this is a bad draft. Look, I'm gonna be honest with you. Surratt and Omar Cooper are not as good as this kid, and we got him in the 7th round. I think you guys are getting a little recency bias because you don't watch college football the way I do. This draft was I drafted my wide receiver. Man, come on, bro. Why do we need to pick up guys from Indiana, bro? We don't need to recreate Indiana in the National Football League. A lot of them guys are not going to be good in the NFL. They're good college players. But some of these guys are if I'm being real. But salute to y'all, man. This has been a Saturday Night Live, man. Yeah, they were bums yesterday, bro. They were bums yesterday. But look, man, it's hard for that defense to adjust when you got a guy like Cignetti that's picking them apart. Those kids are not bums. Those kids are good players, man. But yeah, man, thank you. You hit on every position in need with some great talent, great draft. Thank you. Look, bro, I'm gonna be real with you. There's a lot of hate to my mock drafts, but everybody knows that I'm the GOAT. You go back and look at some of my mock drafts last year. Those guys are in the league balling right now. Balling. And Ray Deloso, you're about to get blocked. I'm about to put the parental controls on your bum ass. Well, guys, listen. You guys have a great night. We've been rocking and rolling for over 90 minutes. I hope that you guys were thoroughly entertained. Thoroughly entertained, man. Ayo, Anthony, you know what I'm going to do? You're going to end the show in a goddamn gulags, you effing bum. Thank you, guys. This was a great, great show. Oh, CGR. Oh, man, CGR. That was friendly fire, CGR. My bad, man. Later. Raider Jeff, appreciate you, man. Thank you, man. Soundwave, thank you, man. Y'all have a great, great night. I did not mean to block CGR. CGR, my bad, bro. My bad. I was trying to block Ayo Anthony. But you guys have a great night, man. I'm out of here. We're going to be back with a lot more content. We're rocking and rolling all week. We're going to break down the Raiders coaching search, some of these players, and I'm going to be doing shorts on a lot of these players, man, to get you guys more familiar and ready for the Raiders draft, man. Salute to every single one of y'all. Love you guys. Appreciate everybody who sent the super, sent the comment, everybody that watched. Make sure you guys hit that like, hit that subscribe. Make sure you guys run us up to 20 bands, man. We are in a race to 20,000, man. Love every single one of you guys. Peace.